Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time we have the Hot Toys Arkham Knight Batman figure. So this is a figure that was really quite surprising and exciting. Wasn't expecting it in the slightest when they showed it. I was really taken back. Had you asked me if I was gonna buy an Arkham Batman before I actually saw it, I would have said no, but once I saw it that very night, I made my decision that I really had to have it. So I'm very happy to get this Batman figure in my collection, and I'm very happy about the Arkham line in general. I do hope that it's not over, although it's been quite a while since the last figure was shown, but I, of course, have Batman now, and I have Joker and the Arkham Knight on pre-order, and can't wait for them as well. So let's get out of the package and let's go over the figure. So here he is out of package, but before we go into the actual figure, let's go over his accessories. You get a total of 9 hands, essentially a pair of fists, 1 open hand, and then the rest are all for holding the different accessories and different weapons. He does come with quite a slew of accessories, as he does use several different accessories and gadgets throughout the game. So of course you get a standard Hot Toys base. I am a fan of these rectangular styled bases with the nameplate. I do like that the logo's up here. With the Star Wars ones, they don't put the logo on the top. I like the logo though, I think it looks good. I wish that the paint, the colors were brighter though on the print. It's kind of really faded, so it's really hard to see. Not to mention the face is positioned in a way where you have to have him stepping completely over his face. So you can't even see the face on the base, and that's quite a bit of a shame. It would be kind of nice had they put the faces in the center of the base. I know it's a little more artistic to do it from the side, but when it comes to function, you're always going to have the figure stepping on the face, so it really does kind of just hinder the point of it. He does come with a backdrop though. I'm a big fan of backdrops. I really do like posing or displaying them with the backdrops. It makes them look more like a specialty figure essentially. So I do like that quite a bit, and the backdrop of this is a landscape of Arkham City, which is very cool. You do have the bat signal on the top there. Very happy that all of the Arkham figures come with bases. Come with backdrops. I think that they look excellent, and they obviously come with the same styled bases as well. So it's a very unified looking collection if you get all 3, which I plan to do. You do get a tray of accessories here. As you can see, he uses quite a bit of weapons and gadgets and everything in the game itself. Allows you to decipher what you need to get through like a certain action scene or like a certain door or something like that. So it is all expressed here, which is quite nice. He does come with like distributor gun, something like that, which can kind of like shut down electrical devices. Obviously what do they call it? I want to say batarang, but that's these. I can't remember what this is even called. What he uses to shoot to climb up stuff. But overall, he comes with that. You can replace like the front of it too, depending on what type of clips that you want on it, which is quite nice. And you can add this to it to make it even larger. He does come with these little like ones that are actually being fired themselves, which is kind of neat. And these can go into that. They can also go into this, which is the line that he uses when he needs to climb like through a hallway or something like that, where he needs it to shoot on both sides. But these are very cool. They are just like a wire, which is kind of unfortunate. I tried to pose him like shooting the line off, and like shooting it up though. But obviously you can't have it shooting up unless you like physically hold it up, considering it's not like plastic that won't stay. So that's unfortunate. I wish that they gave you one at least that was fully plastic and like fixed in a straight position. That would be cool. The gel bomb that he uses to kind of open doors or ice doors, something like that. Comes with an ice bomb. He comes with this. I don't even remember this. I really don't. I don't even know what that's for. It's not even pictured in the instructions, so it doesn't even give you like a hand that you're supposed to use to have him hold that. But I mean, it looks neat. I just have no recollection of what it is. And then obviously he does come with batarangs. He can hold those quite well. He comes with 2 batarangs. Both of them are painted really nicely. They have a nice kind of metal, sparkly type of look to them. They're also very sharp. He can hold them in multiple hands. You've got this hand, which can hold them just like that. You've also got this hand, which you can put like one in between the fingers right here. Let's see if it'll focus. There you go. Like in between the fingers right here, you could stick one in too. So you can kind of fit them in several different styles of hands. And obviously you can put 1 or 2 of them in the hand at a time. But they do look excellent. This is actually how I display him. He does come with the display screen that does have Oracle on it, which I think is very cool. I think that's a great accessory idea. It's not executed the best that it could be, though. It's rather easy to put it in his arm, which is cool. I just wish that it sat a little bit lower so that there wasn't that gap there in between his arm and the actual display. Also, his head, based on his articulation, he can't look down very much at all, which is unfortunate, so you can never get him to like perfectly look at it. However, the idea of the accessory is very cool, and it's something that I really wouldn't have expected them to include, but I'm very happy that they did include it. Alright, so now onto the actual figure. Let's go over his face sculpt. Really liking this head sculpt. I think that the paint itself on the actual cowl is very cool. I like the very slight, subtle hints of scratches and things. It gives it that metal look, which I definitely like. Because it feels like he's got a real metal and armored look to him in the Arkham Knight game. Very similar to his tactical suit in Justice League in the movie. So I do like that. The Justice League tactical suit seems like it's just a movie version of this suit from the game, which I really like that a lot. He does come with a couple of mouthpieces. One is this kind of standard sulking one, and then he has one that's more angry, better for your fight poses, of course. His eyes look very nice. They do not move, though. I mean, most Batman figures have either articulated eyes or they have extra eyes that allow you to have him looking in different directions. Unfortunately, this one only has the one set, which is unfortunate, and there's really no reason why they couldn't have extras, considering, you know, you're using the same mechanism to change out his mouth, so it would have been nice had you been able to have the option to change out his eyes as well. It's not the end of the world, but it's something that could have been added, that they've added in the past, so since they've done it in the past, they should keep it up as a precedence now for the future figures, which is a shame. But let's show you that extra head sculpt or mouthpiece. Alright, so overall I think that it does look pretty cool, especially from the sides. It's nice to get a more angry position there. So that is quite nice. Would have been cool if he had maybe a few others, but for the most part, you really only need the two, the one standard one and then one like angry one. So I think that it fits quite nicely. Going over the actual body here, so much to look at the body, which I really love. They've done a great glossy paint that gives it that real kind of pristine metal, you know, tactical look to it, which I think is very cool. And in the trailer, at least, there's those shots of him putting on the costume. That first trailer for the Arkham Knight game was so freaking good. But anyway, when he's putting on that suit, you can see like the shoulder pads are like you know, mechanically adjusting as he's putting it on and everything. So you get that kind of feel. Like whenever I look at the suit, I kind of feel like the shoulder pads are about to like move and adjust, you know. So that's very cool. It's, you know, that's a big testament to Hot Toys' realistic designs and how they really just look like they're straight from the game, which I think is awesome. Especially around the neck, there's a ton of little detail there, which I think is very cool. My only issue is that on this shoulder pad, like the cloth, the rubber-like cloth of the cape is kind of like bunched in there, and on this side it's not, and I cannot get it out. Just everything is so stuck in place, on this side at least, I cannot adjust it. So that's kind of annoying, and you know, it's a quality issue, which is definitely disappointing in general. The cape itself is cool and a mess all at one. You know, that's just like the best way I can describe it. It really feels like leather. Like it's obviously not real leather. It's faux leather, but it does have a leatherish look to it. It feels very heavy, and because of that, it can be a little bit hard to mess with. It also leaves a lot of creases, especially towards the top, which is a shame. It does have some wires in it, but they're all in not great places. Like he's got one wire straight down the middle here, and then on the sides, he's got one wire on the first seam, but he doesn't have one up here. It's on the first seam down here, which is very annoying. Like, why wouldn't they put it on the edges? Because now you're using the first seam one to kind of help support the side. It would have been easier had the side been you know, fitted with a wire. Actually, what would have been better if they just put a wire in every seam. So have one here, have one on the side, here, middle, and then the same on the other side. That would have been super cool. That would have allowed you to really take control of the cape and make sure that every piece of movement on it is exactly what you want. But instead, you really have to fiddle with it. It's not gonna look great just on your first attempt, which is a shame. I do kind of keep it in a swoosh position. I make the middle section kind of catch on to the pole right here, so it's kind of going this way, and then I leave the edges kind of like this, so it's just swooping a little bit, just to give it a little bit of something. But yeah, that's what I do. And then as we go down, you have the hands, Also, his costume material itself is a very kind of, I would call it a strictly like rubber, and then in between that rubber, when they have the places with actual like detail on it, that's very much like the rubber in a Superman or Vision suit. So that type of rubber does crease very easily. However, just based on his design, the creases don't look as bad as they do on Superman or Vision, especially Superman. You know, Superman should have a really pristine suit, so the wrinkles look really bad on him. Batman is not as bad. I will say that towards the thigh area, though, when you do have him articulate, that leaves creases, which I'll show you, and that can definitely be an issue because the thighs are so clean. That's one thing that's a little odd to look at, is that he's so busy up top, and he's got these really cool, busy boots on, and then just the thigh area is so clean. It's like, you know, it doesn't really fit. I want like the belt to be lower or something, so that there's like something going on there at least. The belt does look very nice, though. It has a nice gold look, and then the armor on the hands and boots have like this bluish metallic tint to it, which at first I thought was a little weird, but I absolutely love it. I mean, it looks sweet. It might be coming across a little bit bluer than it actually is on camera than in person, but I think that it just looks excellent. I really I like it a lot. I think it looks great. The suit itself just looks amazing on this figure. It's definitely like the strongest thing about it. I mean, just the looks of the figure are so great, and they're so like just perfect and nailed to the game. So as far as articulation is concerned, his head can look up fairly full. It's on a ball joint at two. It's on two ball joints on a pin essentially. So he can look up quite far, which I do like quite a bit. He just can't look down very much. He can kind of just level out, which is definitely a shame. Batman should be able to look down because he's always kind of sulking. He's, you know, usually looking down on the city, things like that. So I really wish that he could look down a bit more. The looking up is cool, but it's not as necessary as looking down. The shoulders can go up fairly far. You are leaving some wrinkles there, but it is pretty much covered by the shoulder pad itself. He does have a bicep swivel, which again, it's all about the suit restriction, so you just got to be careful as you're swiveling it, but it can swivel. It does leave creases though. The elbows can go about a full 90 degrees, which is pretty solid, and then the wrists, you know, are pretty solid. They swivel with slight hinges if you're going this way. If you're going this way, you're really not going to get anything from it. The torso doesn't really bend forward much, but it does go side to side. However, it does kind of have the tendency to spring back. So as you can see, just because of the suit and how strict it is, or how thick it is, it can restrict it a bit, but there is a bit of side to side movement. On the legs, they can kick out, but they leave some awful creases, and obviously that is not a very good kick. I mean, I could force it to go a little bit more, but you really shouldn't go any more than that, I would say. He does swivel at the thigh a bit. He's got double hinge knees, which can go about 90 degrees. I wouldn't push him any more, and they do leave really bad creases. These tend to pop back out, though, assuming that you don't leave them posed like that for a very extended amount of time. And then as far as the ankles are concerned, the ankles are pretty good. He's got a nice rocker on them, so they can be bent pretty solidly so that his feet are flat on the floor. They can go forward a fair amount. They can go up a little bit, especially if you get it kind of under the boot there itself. But overall, the ankles are all right. His articulation isn't great. I wasn't expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be horrible, actually. So it's probably a little bit better than I was expecting. I wish that the head had a bit more range, but other than that, it's what I was expecting as far as articulation is concerned. So I can't complain too much. Just if you have Hot Toys figures, you can kind of tell which ones are going to have the articulation, which ones are not. And this one never looked like it was one that would have any decent articulation at all. So I was very much aware of that when I'm purchasing it. So as long as you're aware of that too, you can make your decision whether you're all right not having it super functional and instead more having it for the look itself and the standing there, the presence of the stance and not so much the pose. Alright, so here's the DCEU Batman compared to the Arkham Knight Batman. As you can see, you know, the DCEU Batman is quite a bulky figure. However, he's kind of dwarfed almost by this Arkham one. This Arkham one is much larger in the legs, arms. The torso is the only place where it's not probably as large, which is a little odd for the proportioning of that DCEU one. But anyway, his arms are bigger, his legs are bigger. He's got his head is up higher. The torso itself slims down a bit more, which gives him more of a heroic look. And then the ears on his cowl are insanely tall. But even without those ears, he's still taller than the DCU one. So overall, he's just a bigger figure in general. His cape is heavier and heftier. You get more with this with the Arkham Batman than you do with these DCU one. And yeah, and I do have the Christian Bale Batman, of course, as well. So it's kind of neat to see the three Batmans together. I think once the Arkham City or the Arkham Asylum Joker comes out, I'll take a picture with the three Batmans looking at their three, respective Jokers. I think that would be actually really cool. But anyway, size-wise here, this is an incredibly tall and bulky figure, considering the DCU Batman is already a bulky figure, and this one is much bigger than it. So overall, I'm really enjoying this Batman figure as far as the look is concerned. It's exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting to get it and to love the way that it looks and to really, come and look at it in my collection all the time, but to not really do much with it as far as posing or anything like that. That's exactly how it turned out. So it was pretty much exactly how I was expecting. It has an amazing look to it. It really does. It's very impressive. I like it a lot. I like it a lot more than any Batman figure that I've had before. And just as far as the look, it's so beautiful to look at. I love the textures and the shines and the materials that it looks like it's reflecting. It would be really cool if he had die-cast parts, if the shoulder pads and the chest pieces and gauntlets, if those were die-cast, that would be super sweet. But I love the different textures and the different paint that's been used on this figure. I also like his bulk, and then I'm just a fan of the design in general. I think that my appreciation for the Arkham Knight design has really just blown up because of this figure. Originally, it was kind of cool, but it wasn't a design that I was freaking out about. It looked a little weird that it was so armored, but for some reason with this figure, it looks so good. I'm really into it. So overall, I absolutely love this figure. Would highly recommend it if you're an Arkham fan. But again, I would treat it a little bit more like a statue, where it's more of a presence piece and not so much a functional one, especially if you want to keep the suit, rather free of wrinkles and free of any sort of possible tearing because of the extensive amount of rubber used on the costume itself. I absolutely love this thing, though. I can't wait for the Arkham Knight and Joker. I think Joker is going to be a really different experience as far as the figure is concerned, because he should be very articulate and he should be quite fun to pose and things like that. And then the Arkham Knight, I think, is going to be a little bit in between. I think he's going to have better articulation than Batman, but I certainly think that he's going to be, somewhat restricted for sure. But yeah, can't wait for the other two figures. Hope that this line isn't done. Would obviously love to see, Scarecrow and Harley Quinn. There's so many other figures that they could do that I would absolutely love to own. So there you go. That's my review on this Batman Arkham Knight Batman figure. Let me know what you guys think of it, and thanks so much for watching.